2Flicks, Michael Davis's 2007 shoot 'em up, and Chad Stahelski and David Leitch's 2014 John Wick. Both children of Hong Kong gun fu-style action cinema and the more gun-centric Western action properties of Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name Westerns and 007, the films share a lot of DNA. Neon-lit urban settings, intense color grading, rock music, and gruff protagonists living out the wakes of tragedy, mowing down hordes of enemies and action sequences involving heavy stunt work and constellations of muzzle flashes. But where John Wick went on to launch a billion-dollar franchise, shoot 'em up failed to find success at the box office, and director Michael Davis was unceremoniously ejected from Hollywood. John Wick is consistently listed as one of the greatest action movies of all time. It was considered a comeback role for Reeves, a blood transfusion for the American action film. Shoot 'em up's better. The film's story is to the point. Bad guys we know are bad guys because they're listening to hip-hop and speaking Russian, see John Wick's midlife crisis car at the gas station, and mess with the wrong guy, breaking into his house to steal his car, kill his dog, and just generally be the last piece of straw on the camel's back. We learn John is a former boogeyman who got out of the business to become a house husband, but his wife has just died, and therefore he's got the skills and the inclination to track these guys down and exact his vengeance. It's a pretty by-the-book middle-aged power fantasy type narrative. Think Death Wish or something Liam Neeson be in. The aesthetics of the film are just generally middle-of-the-road shorthand choices for cool, leather jacket, suit, muscle car, hard rock, and just read kind of stock to me. We could take a page or two from Detective Tequila's book, work up a sweat and get toasted on a couple of slammers before taking to the stage with your clarinet. That's style, baby. Willem Dafoe and John Leguizamo play against type by turning in completely unremarkable performances. Really, any of the supporting characters in this movie trying to dive into the material are getting pulled out of the pool and carried away in an ambulance. There's just no depth here. All of the underground society stuff that's going to be kind of fleshed out in the later sequels is clearly just here to Deus Ex Machina John from point A, grieving husband, to point B, kitted out badass, ready to track down some hip-hop heads, ASAP. But I'm not mad at it. We all know why we're here, and it's not to get the lowdown on how the gold coin barter system is balanced. The film is constructed around its action sequences, and rightly so. Stahelski and Leitch's philosophy is thus: we don't have a ton of time and money, but we do have a lot of experience coordinating stunt teams. Don't hide the stunt work. Don't move the camera all over the place. Don't cut around the action. We're going to ride that master. As close to one take, one shot as we can get. In an age where computer graphics chicanery is often turned to, instead of capturing effects in cameras practically, resulting in an effect with real-world weight and therefore adding to a visual illusion of stakes, these guys are out there kicking it old school. But it's ultimately not a half measure, but like a 3/4 measure, because the squibs are still CGI, the bullet hits are still CGI, etc., etc. In addition, philosophically, the action contradicts itself. Leitch and Stahelski incorporate as many real-world techniques as they can, showcasing them front and center to the sound of every UFC casual in the audience pointing to the screen to go, ooh, 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 Imanari roll. But the film, both with its continental hitman world lore where every cop and every bum on the street is in this quote-unquote secret organization, and the notion that one guy that isn't in a bell tower with a gun that isn't a sniper rifle is going to win an outnumbered gunfight after outnumbered gunfight is anything but real world. The filmmakers strip away the flash and style from, let's say, a John Woo type firefight to sell you one that's more realistic. No doves, no dives, no slow-mo. But ultimately, it's just as unrealistic, and I got shorted several doves, several dives, and some slow-mo. The writing's outlandish, to which we're expected to go, it's an action film, turn your brain off, gun goes brat, brat, brat. But then instead of the action being equally outlandish, or some could say cinematic, it's stripped of flair, while also expecting me to accept Keanu Reeves launching a leg lock on some dude, because that's real-world stuff right there, right before standing back up to resume his closely contested gunfight with a blind man. Okay, that's part 4, but the point still stands. Is this gritty and real? Why can't these guys take cover and turn this dude to Swiss cheese? Is this gun fu fantasy? Where's the set pieces? Where's the style? It feels like 5-minute action scenes filled with Keanu alternating between doing that check corners thing in every cop movie and busting out the new move he learned in jiu-jitsu class this week. Rinse and repeat. But okay, we really want to see John make these guys pay. The kickoff was golden. That puppy yelp? Put him in an armbar, Keanu. Guys gotta pay. And they do, with freaking 20 minutes left in the movie. Then we gotta watch John go back to reenact the final fight in Street Fighter with Daddy Russian because he killed John Wick's friend, who we do not care about. Even Willem Dafoe doesn't care about him. Even the character himself is like, I do not care about me. Take me out of this movie. And Daddy Russian? John spared him earlier in the film. He's just spent the entire movie placing guys to kill John Wick. He's just trying to save his son. Does John not expect this guy to avenge his son? Is this guy not complicit in the illegal comings and goings of his son and his group of rap aficionado friends, which resulted in the theft of John's car and the death of his dog? Is John not the Baba Yaga, a man comprised wholly of focus, commitment, and sheer will, who presumably was taking money to kill people he did not even know in his former life. Is he supposed to be, like, nice now? He's supposed to be the Grim Reaper with a surfer dude skin on. Something they do twice in this movie with Perkins and the Daddy Russian is have John spare people who are trying to kill him, who then come back to kill his friends and increase the runtime. Why? John's a hitman. He's back. He's not a nice guy. He's not a let's turn the other cheek guy. He kills people. For gold coins, he spends on machine guns and hotel rooms to kill other people. Why would Wick let him go? But he does, and then that guy kills the other guy, and I guess because Wick's back, Daddy Russian's gotta go now, and we gotta wait until credits roll when we've already avenged the frickin' dog. Again, the story here is only to act as an armature for the gunplay. Clive Owen's Mr. Smith is sitting at a bus stop munching on a carrot when a pregnant woman goes into labor / gets murdered. Davis then takes Hardboiled's famous maternity ward sequence and stretches it to last the whole movie, with Smith assuming responsibility for the little MacGuffin, simultaneously thwarting the throngs of goons trying to kill him and unraveling the conspiracy behind it. From the jump, with Clive Owen doing his best Bugs Bunny, the tone is clear, cartoon, and the slapstick nature of the violence and the comic book nature of the characters is immediately informed. While you aren't likely to remember the narrative's twists and turns as you rocket from shootout to shootout, they are anything but predictable and satisfy in matching the over-the-top nature of the action. Where Shoot 'em Up really compares favorably is in its inventiveness. We get the more typical John Woo-esque slides and dives out of the way early, the first minute of the film or so. Following that, Davis challenges himself to continually come up with novel ways to incorporate Owen's Mr. Smith pointing a gun and pulling the trigger. Check your bingo cards for Gun-Fu Spelling Contest, Gun-Fu Race to dry off the internals of your firearm via restroom blow dryer, Gun-Fu Keep Away by shooting the merry-go-round at the playground to keep an infant out of the crosshairs of a sniper rifle, Gun-Fu Interrogation via red-hot gun barrel burns, Gun-Fu Sex Scene, etc., etc. Shoot 'em Up has memorable set pieces for days, and Davis and Hong Kong action cinematographer Peter Powell use all the camera tricks, stunt choreography, practical squibs, bullet hits, blood splatters to make them all really land. There's still some digital effects where we might want practical, and some where practical would be impossible, but for the most part we're capturing it on the day. Shoot 'em Up knows it's a dumb action flick, but the visual storytelling here is anything but. The movie is stuffed with sight gags and just clever filmmaking. Baby MacGuffin goes number 2 on a newspaper article turned into a makeshift diaper, and lo and behold, that article is the case cracker clue. Who needs expository dialogue? Shoot, don't tell. Even outside of the film's gunfights, Davis consistently ups the ante, pushing concepts to newer, more colorful and niche areas. We go to a brothel, but it's not just a brothel. It's a brothel that specializes in fringe proclivities, like whatever this guy's into. Smith needs to leave DQ and Baby MacGuffin somewhere safe, but it's a tank, and he has to create a diversion to gain access to it. Every step forward for the characters is a surprise for the viewer. Even putting the action sequences to the side for a moment, Shoot 'em Up just has more to offer. It's more emotionally complex, the characters' interactions with each other really matter, there's a sense that all the major players have unique worldviews that affect and are affected by each other. They all have voids in their life that motivate them. DQ's loss of a child inspiring her stewardship of Baby MacGuffin. Smith's own self-loathing at being both product and perpetrator of gun violence. Giamatti's failing marriage, resulting in him carrying around an arm cannon and asserting he's not a pussy with a gun. Everything isn't just purely motivation to kill. The performances are all great. Owen's perennially pissed off Smith is a likable grump, and Owen sinks his teeth into one-liners and cheese, meeting the material on its level. Giamatti's big bad is delivered with such mirth, so shameless in his distasteful dialogue and dark deeds, it's infectious. Whether he's delivering dirty limericks, fondling the dead, or sharing touchy marital jokes from off the NRA's website. Monica Bellucci's DQ embodies the few sincere sentiments of the writing, while still being a prostitute that specializes in clients with a lactation fetish with a pun name. She's the heart of the film. There's some light political commentary going on. The film seems to acknowledge gun violence's prevalence in American society, while also being aware of its complicity with our obsessions of it on our screens, but none of this is overbearing. The film is entertainment first and foremost. You can take or ignore this stuff. It's not all roses. Apart from 1 or 2 scenes, the film can be ugly. Some of the scenes color graded so harshly it looks like they shot portions of it through jars of urine. The songs on the soundtrack, while great songs by themselves, come off like a high-energy temp track that they edited the high-energy scenes to, only to realize they have the money to get them, and why not? You can swap them out for any number of hard rock tracks and get the same result. But ultimately, if the best Woo scenes are poetry with guns, or operatic, or dance, Davis's scenes are the cartoon slapstick sight gag versions. It's a fun time. So why the disparity of outcomes? Lionsgate originally saw John Wick as a straight-to-DVD title. The film received very limited interest prior to Lionsgate purchasing the rights to it. Reactions to the film itself were lukewarm at best. There was some trepidation with the killing of the puppy, traditionally regarded as a cinematic faux pas, and Reeves was perceived to be a faded star, his last 2 films, 47 Ronin and Man of Tai Chi, being box office bombs. However, Keanu was big on the internet. The sad Keanu meme had blown up 3 years prior, and it's my assumption that this led people to question, why exactly is Keanu so sad? Keanu comes across as extremely likable in interviews. He can be both candid, admitting to failures and securing studio-leading roles post-Matrix, while also establishing boundaries and wanting to preserve what privacy he can. He seems passionate about various interests. He plays bass in a band. He hosted and co-produced a documentary on shooting on film versus digital. He's seen as being down-to-earth, kind, non-intimidating, while still being of leading man stock. And yes, he suffered personal tragedies which maybe regrettably are public knowledge. All this has contributed to him being dubbed the quote-unquote internet's boyfriend, and, I propose, made the audience extraordinarily sympathetic to him in a movie which they perceive to be parallel emotionally to Reeves' real life. And why not? Reeves the actor has a lot of skin in the game production-wise, so to speak, having a history with both Hong Kong-adjacent action cinema and the director of the film being his stunt double on The Matrix. It seems personal for him, and aware of the downturn in his career, they went out to support their internet boyfriend. And when that puppy yelp cut the air in their local multiplex, and Reeves had lost it all and went on his roaring rampage of revenge, they were elated and said as much to their friends. Word of mouth, star power, the Cheapy B film does A business, they scale up with the second and the third, we make $1 billion. This actually bears a lot in common with Nick Cage's recent resurgence, going from straight-to-DVD roles to meme to meta-action comedy with the internet's other boyfriend, Pedro Pascal. Be kind of a fun parallel universe thing to picture him in the role in 2014. Or Liam Neeson, but neither have the martial arts film background or connection with the filmmakers that would enable the film to exist. Stahelski and Leach only get the nod to direct because Keanu connects them with the project, and the first film's production was so troubled, change any of the pieces, it might never get finished. Case in point, if it's not Reeves in the suit, the movie, if it even gets made, is straight to DVD. With him, $1 billion. Shoot 'em Up has an opposite story. Independent director Michael Davis gets a film school buddy / Transformers producer to look at some animatic storyboards for his action script, and off the strength of it, New Line Cinema greenlit the production for $39 million. Looking to release it initially during the holiday season, somebody gets cold feet, and the film is pushed to a much slower mid-September weekend, ultimately failing to return its budget. It's hard to say for sure, but it seems like the marketing for the film rubbed the public the wrong way, with faux ads for bulletproof baby carriages, quote, for the urban baby, and ads featuring the leads holding their weapons being banned in the UK for glamorizing gun violence. The project itself had already been shelved once before, after the Columbine shooting, and I wonder if there was a conversation of waiting till enough time had passed, if mainstream American culture post the first mass school shooting incident would return to one that could be accepting of the kind of gun-centric movie Shoot 'em Up was. The restraint of limiting the film to every novel thing you could do with a gun ultimately led to a public perception nightmare. Gun violence is frivolous fun. It's a shame. The craft of the film is so high level, it really deserves better than it got, and it's not like Wick or any number of other successful action movies don't feature gun violence. If you haven't seen it and you like action movies, you like gun fu, you want to watch something fun that doesn't take itself too seriously, while also being very visually competent, has a lot of stunts and practical effects, try Shoot 'em Up. If you want to see some men play wrestle, really technically, and think wearing a suit or pontificating in a Russian accent is badass, you've already seen John Wick. Give Shoot 'em Up a shot, you'll like that one too.